Hey everyone, welcome back to Rally Caps, a podcast for the creative entrepreneur building a business for the long haul.
Today, we're joined by the one and only Kerri Carlquist of Kerri Carlquist Photography, native to the Chicagoland area and recent St. Louis University grad. She was on the executive board of her sorority, started her business in 2018, moving back to Chicago, working for a PR agency and balancing her side hustle to then go full-time in August of 2019. Now she books 30 plus weddings per year, at least 10 or more couple sessions per month, has an associate photographer and a killer new studio, which used to be ours that we're sitting in right now. She loves gluten-free Happy Camper pizza, running, the city she lives in, Jenny's ice cream, and golden retrievers. Is all of that.
Is that all correct, Kerri?
True?
That's all me.
Boom. We nailed it. We have secret intel to like get all that. I don't know. I felt like I knew most of that already. You, with all your running stories on Instagram and how many Happy Camper pizza boxes I see lying around.
Friday night pizza nights, baby.
They have like the best gluten-free pizza in town.
Yeah, they're good. And lately, okay, so Spaccanapoli is
So
down.
good.
I've heard they have bomb gluten-free
Like,
pizza too, and I've never tried it.
Well, I haven't tried the gluten-free, but like
I haven't been there in general.
it's unbelievable.
All right.
It's like world renowned, I think. According to Mike, he knows all of the food stuff.
Nice. Great.
It's very good.
Love to see it.
Well, like I said, we are sitting in Sunlit Studio, which used to be Creative Club Chicago, this unit in this building. We were here for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as we moved out, it was the day we moved into our new unit.
It's crazy.
What did you do? You like came up to us.
Well, I've been looking at spaces, but a little bit further south in Lincoln Park, and those were not realistic to rent.
Like 5 times the price?
Significantly. And so I never really considered this space because I was like, oh, it's 10, 15 minutes from home. That doesn't make sense. It would make more sense to walk. And then I kind of realized, well, I'm driving here and working with you guys every day. What's the difference if it's my space or not? So the day they moved out, called Will, head guy of the building, and said, send me an application, I'll send a deposit, and send me anything else that you need from me, and I'll have it to you within the hour.
Yeah, and then it's just like, that pace didn't stop. It was just like, go.
No.
How long, start to finish, did it take for you to do the full remodel of this entire unit?
Start to finish, like 27 days, 26 days.
It took it took us like 3 years to get it to what it was, and then that was like 100th of what you've made.
I
this
just
place.
knew if I didn't like go for it that it wasn't ever gonna happen, because I knew I'm only gonna get busier. Like there's never a good time to just like set aside and do that. And I also knew the second I started renting it, the last thing I wanted was to have something that wasn't done for people renting and paying the same price as people renting in 6 months when everything's totally done. So I was like, no time like the present.
Yeah. And I mean, with us knowing you, it's very obvious that that's just kind of your MO for all the things you do. And okay, before we get into more of that, I just want to, if you are just listening and not watching on YouTube, this is your chance to just jump over to YouTube and see the visuals of this space. Kerri's going to walk us through everything she did to make this place insanely gorgeous.
I can't take myself seriously. So, this is kind of the main shooting area. We have this incredible backdrop. I went with this painted backdrop instead of seamless paper for a couple of reasons. One, I can always add seamless paper, so I wanted to see how this looked in here. And two, it's really hard to change that when you're by yourself. So this is really nice. There's 2 different sides to it. I can constantly be repainting them. It's super easy to just flip around, and actually the sizing of it's really nice because if people want to shoot front lit, I just pull the board out this way and it ends up sitting here. And so people are getting the front light instead of the side light. So that's been really nice. I made this little scene here, which has been fun. People have been enjoying. Sorry, I'll just come on over here. This has just been nice. People have just been changing this area however they want. So either they leave the disco balls, they move the plants, but it's just nice to have some different areas. Again, I just want someone to walk in and see this space and be like, oh my gosh, that'd be a perfect spot for this branding shoot. Yes, this is kind of why there's lots of these little setups going on. Curtains, all intentional. Cut out the harsh light when it comes in. The curtains right here. a nice little spin around. These are nice to pull shut for a couple of reasons. One, they bounce the light right back in, but two, they kind of shut off the shooting space, which is nice because when people are having their photo taken, they don't always like to see me looking at them. When I designed this space, everything I was thinking about was when you open the door, what is your experience as you walk in? What is your experience as a photographer that's renting? What is your experience as a client of mine? What is your experience as a friend coming into co-work? What is your experience as a client of that other photographer? So this is my little kitchenette area. It's really mostly for me, just because I'm eating lunch and stuff in here. But I have a nice little popcorn popper up there. I haven't used it yet, but really not much to say here. It's great. I love my kitchenette. Come on, Blue Fridge. Here we go. Little coffee cart with just some extra room for storage and snacks. The frames, originally when I was dreaming of a space, I thought I wanted to have a big wall of photos. But with other photographers renting the space, it made much more sense to have photos of the space itself. That is still my work, but not just have my work blasted around when there's other photographers coming into this space. The bar, come on over to Sunlit Studio Bar. Oh man, this is my neon sign that says today is a good day. Sign was done intentionally. Oh, it's a bright orange neon sign for those of you that are listening and not watching. Bright orange neon sign, it says today is a good day. I wanted a sign that would work if people wanted to shoot in the bar area, and also one that I wanted to look at when I walked in. So when I thought of today's a good day, I'm like, this is perfect, because that way I'm just convinced that every day's a good day. Lots of drinks and stuff behind the bar. It's a white fluted bar with a wooden top with marble paint on it. It looks incredible. It's my favorite little piece. Behind the bar is just a nice table, co-working table with a shelf above it. Just some of my favorite books that have inspired me and helped me to get to where I am, including a book from my high school choir director that she wrote this super sweet note in about going after your dreams when I went full time. And then some books my parents have gotten me that have inspired me along the way, and my cute little Pantone paint things that are my favorite things: Golden Hour, Farmers Market Mornings, and Lakefront Lights in the branding colors of Sunlit Studio. My lounge area, again, when we talk about the experience of walking through, this was put in the middle. At first we thought it would make sense to have my nice pink velvet couch with all the colorful pillows and the green chairs by the bar. But I wanted, when clients come in, if we're hanging in this area, I wanted them to be in the middle of the space. There's psychology about being in the middle of a room that is just more uplifting, for lack of a better term. A nice hat wall, lots of GG Pip hats, which are fun. I did that because I did a shoot actually at Creative Club, the new Creative Club upstairs, before I had this space. Where it was a maternity session, and she came in, and I had a hat on me, and I was like, here, do you want to throw this on for a couple shots? And let me tell you, there is nothing that makes a girl feel better than a flat brim hat, because she was just owning it. So that's when I was like, okay, this will be fun to have some hats. So when people come in, they can just jazz up their outfit. My desk is on the other side. I love my desk, but my chair is too short for my desk, so my hands hurt after I'm typing for a while. But yeah, I love my desk. I love the cabinets next to my desk. This is kind of my cabinet with a lot of tools and random stuff in there. The other cabinet next to it has an air mattress and sheets and pillows and all that stuff in case people want to style the space like an in-home session. They could do that. I have a prop closet right next to the shooting space here. It's a work in progress, but I have lots of champagne glasses, wine glasses, disco balls, heart-shaped glasses, confetti, things that people can come in and use for their shoots. Those are really the big things. The hats were designed with a little wooden peg, which are a super easy clone out if people don't want the hats in the back and they want to shoot with the pink couch and all the fun pillows. So really everything was designed so it's how I want it when I'm working here and when it's my space with my clients, but also where people can come and spice it up a little bit to be what they want it to be.
I want to dive in a little deeper. So actually, just for quick context for the listeners who don't know, I'm based out in Boston. Kerri, Eric, and a bunch of the gang are out in Chicago right now. So I saw all of these updates to the old Creative Club on Instagram when Kerri started posting all of the finished photos and everything from it. And I was absolutely blown away because it just looked incredible, which you all saw in the tour. Kerri, what made you want to build out a studio like Sunlit Studio to the degree to which you committed to it, to like how beautiful it looks and like everything that you did for it? Like what made you, like what compelled you, I should say, to really just like commit to that so hard?
That's a good question. I kind of like what I was saying before, I'm very much like, you have an idea, and as long as it makes sense, then you go full steam ahead for it. And so I probably towards...
Sorry. This is echoey.
Probably towards the beginning of the year when I started considering studio spaces, I actually wasn't really thinking for photography purposes solely as much. I just think after this last year, like I wanted a space to feel creative, and I wanted a space to bring other people into where they can feel creative. I wanted a space where people felt welcome after a year of not being welcome literally anywhere. And so I wanted a space where that could happen. So before I got this space, I was doing a lot of like just dreaming of what a space would look like in general, because I'm a big believer that like your physical space actually matters, and you know the colors that you bring in and the people that are coming in, like obviously that's playing a role. And so earlier this year, I started just thinking about, like I just started dreaming of a space that was colorful and had a bar in it, and not just for wine and whatever, but something where people could come in and have just be welcomed with a drink, or be welcomed with light or plants or something where people felt connected. And so my long-term goal with this space before I even thought about having it to shoot in was just to have a space for events and just to have a space to work in, to welcome other people to work in. Long-term, I want to get into youth ministry. And so to have a space that can start to fuel me that direction, whether this is a space I have long-term or not, but just to have a space that is welcoming. And so I was excited. Like that's the best way to put it, is when I got the space, I had all these ideas in my head. Like I had an idea of this pink couch. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like a bright pink couch. I'm doing that. So that was the first thing that I bought for the space. And, you know, I didn't really tell anyone other than the people that were most important to me, that were going to help me brainstorm, help me dream. And then also the people that were going to literally help me design. And so we talk about creativity, you know, I love photography, but I love creative projects. Like I just love projects. So this space was as much of like the creative project itself as it was creating a space for more creative projects in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. That's incredible. Eric alluded to this earlier, but it looks totally different than what it looked like when Eric and Mike and everyone had the space.
It's crazy.
You did so much work. What was, if you could pick one piece of the studio now, what was the hardest thing that you had to overcome to build out this vision that you had?
My impatience.
Even though you did it in 25 days.
Well, so I had to, I was really eager. You know, I wanted everything done, but everything takes time. Shipping in a pandemic takes time.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy express shipping on everything that you order. But I think so. The piece that's behind us right now, I had a friend who is just so talented and handy at everything. And she helped me with a lot of she helped me sew curtains. She helped me literally build this piece with drywall and 2x4s. It's
all the
insane.
Infrastructure stuff.
Yeah, it's just insane. And I think that like the hardest piece was being okay with other people helping me, because part of me was like, well, this is my space. I feel like I need to do everything myself. But it was I think the second I could just like swallow my pride and say, okay, I need help. I had a friend, Elise, who's incredible at design, who went to Hobby Lobby with me and said, buy all of these pots, buy all of these plants, do this. And like, I would have never thought to organize with the taper candles up on the shelf. Like I would have never thought of that. And she's sending me links like, go buy this, we'll decorate with this. And so I think the hardest part really was like feeling impatient around it, and then also like releasing some of it to just like let other people do it on their own time.
Yeah. That's to me, that feels like a huge roadblock that has, harmed me in the past with creative process.
Right.
Whether it's outsourcing work or being collaborative on some sort of project. I've been able to kind of let go of those things in the past, 2 years.
Right.
And once you reap the benefits of what that's like on the other side,
you can't go back.
Right. You're just
Right.
like, I can't imagine doing it any other way moving forward, because you see what it looks like. You
Right.
see the end result, and it's so much better than what you could have imagined from before.
For sure.
So this is all amazing. Unbelievable. The fact that you went full-time 2 years ago and now this is your life. I'm sure so many people, especially in the photography realm and the creative realm, are going like, how is that even possible? When people ask us about Creative Club, they're like, oh, I want this in my city. I want to team up with other people to do that. Like, it's so not even on people's radar to first have their own space that they could pay rent for, and then be able to fund it to do what you've done to this space. What got you to this point? Like, start from the beginning when it came to your business, and how did you grow that to give you the ability to make something like this now? It's a huge question.
It is a big question.
Basically, if you could just walk us through some of the timeline of, where it went from passion to, okay, I'm serious about this, to like, no, we're running a full-blown business now.
So when I graduated college, I wanted to work in advertising and PR.
What you did.
Which I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to go work in advertising and PR in California because that's what everyone who's independent and loves the sun wants to do, is go move to California. And so I was like, again, I will do anything for my dreams. And so I was all about going out to California until I went out there for a bunch of my interviews for incredible companies that were like, you are the perfect candidate. Call us when you have an LA address. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to just move on a whim. Like, I was passionate about the work itself that I was doing, and I wanted to work. I really wanted that. So I came home and I got connected to these two women who were running a event production and web design agency. And I kind of was like, you guys need any hourly work? I just need to make enough money to pay for some of my own meals. I was living at my parents' house at the time. I just moved home from school. And so they took me on an hourly work. I was so upset about not being able to live in California that I poured everything that I was into this job. Ended up falling in love with this job and the women that were just coaching me and leading me. And so I took a full-time job with them. I was their first ever hire, their first employee. And so we were all kind of figuring it out together. And I loved them and I loved that job. And to be able to afford to keep that job, I also had to have a supplemental income. So I'd always kind of been doing photography, but this was kind of the turning point of, okay, if I want to keep this job, doing, these events and this web design and working with two really cool women, I need to be able to afford to keep that job. So picked up photography a little bit more, had shot a couple weddings at that point. And somewhere along the lines in that, my passion for photography grew. I started taking on work that I loved way more. I had gotten flown out to California for a few weddings and got a glimpse of, I don't need to live there. I can just travel there. And then somewhere along the lines, I literally could not keep both jobs anymore. Yeah. It was never like, I don't like this other job, I need to quit. I have to do photography full time. It was, I'm working myself to the ground with two jobs right now. I was working not 2 full-time jobs. I was working 2 overtime jobs. Is kind of what I say. And so it was time to take a jump, really. And it was a calculated risk, I say. A lot of people always just say, like, just go full-time, like, just do it, just see what happens. But I actually say, like, make sure it's a smart decision.
Yeah, I'm totally in that camp. Yeah.
I had met with a bunch of financial advisors. My dad has been a huge help in the process. My dad has been he's really good at budgeting and really good at talking me through that stuff. So there was a lot of thought into it, but of course it still was a jump. And so I took that leap, and I've just not slowed down since, and it's been great. So I'd say that was kind of the timeline. Is I had photography to supplement a different income, and then it turned into this other job supplementing my photography income. And then that was kind of when I was like, okay, you don't have any more time in your life, so you need to pick one or the other. And I knew really after watching two women run their own business, I was like, that's so cool. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I did.
That's awesome. I really resonate with your story. Very similar to what I went through with teaching and balancing my photography career. What I kind of came into my head when you were saying that is like, I think the healthiest way to go about jumping full time is to go through this really intense, unhealthy season to be able to have a healthy season on the other side.
For sure.
Which, like, I actually agree with. Like, I think we have, as humans, we have the tolerance to be able to handle that kind of intensity for that short period of time, but having the self-awareness to realize this is not sustainable long term.
Right.
Therefore, I have to make a choice. But it's a really, really good way for you to build something so that you're not just like totally out of money and have no work when you do decide to go full time. So I said, and it's really like Stephen and I's philosophy on a lot of what we do with creative entrepreneurship and teaching and sharing that message of just like, it's not really a good calculated risk to just jump into something that you make no money and you have no other job to support.
Well, and I also think that there's such I don't know what the right word is, maybe misconception that in order to be a successful photographer, you have to be full time. And I think that that's something that I heard a lot. I had a lot of people that I was meeting in the industry that were saying, oh, but you're not full time. And I didn't want to be full time at that point. Like I could have been, but I loved this other job. I loved what I was learning in it. I loved the people and the clients. Like I was very happy in that job. And so I think that, I had a girl in here that was renting the other day, and she was traveling, and they were just doing some headshots in here. And she was telling me that it was fun to do photography for the weekend because she had a busy week at her job. And I looked at her and I said, what do you do? And she said, I work in finance. And I said, do you like your job? And she said, I love my job. And she was talking about how she doesn't have time to do photography full time. And she's like, I love my job. I love my clients. I love what I do. And I just looked at her and just said, then stay doing that. You can do photography too. Like you don't have to go full time with it if you're not ready for it. And if it doesn't like fiscally make sense either.
Totally. And then it just becomes a game of like, then you just need to put parameters in your life with the creative business you start.
Right.
Okay. Because the natural inclination is like, if you're good at what you do, you treat your clients well, it's going to grow to a point where you'll probably be faced with, do I go full time or not?
Right.
And so then it's putting in like having enough discipline to then be like, no, I'm only taking this much on
For sure.
at a time.
For sure.
Just seeing you, knowing who you are, hearing more of that story, it's very clear that your calculated decision to go full time the way you did resulted in your ability to build and have Sunlit Studios because you weren't taking on a bunch of debt. You weren't like doing a traditional business model of, getting investors or anything like that, which creative people don't tend to do. But I think a lot of people find themselves in a position where it's like they have no capital at all. And so I have to book work to get new gear. I have to book work to remain full time. I have to book work to blah, 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 and in your situation, it's like, build up this nest egg for a while, leave the first job, feel comfortable going into the full-time photography. But then once you're in it, you're like, let's hammer this nail over and over and over. And then you're just like, you're doubling your income and you're building up an even bigger nest egg to be able to invest into something like this. So cool.
Yeah. Kerri, it seems like you've done such a good job of building up this business that now you're getting so much surplus work that it's impossible for one person to handle, which is kind of an interesting problem for a wedding photographer to have, because I think it's often maybe tricky to like scale a business as a wedding photographer because so much of what we do kind of rests on, you know, artistic skills, our personalities, and kind of the way that we do business as an individual.
Right.
But you've recently found a very cool way to scale your wedding photography business. And you want to talk about that person and who you've brought on into your team?
I could talk about Katie forever. She's amazing. She showed up at the perfect time. Like, it was just, call it what you want. It was a total God thing. I got to a point where, let's put it this way, the whole leaving my job, all of that, like, my work has really always been centered around my clients. They've always been at the forefront of what I was doing, which is why I had to leave my other job, because I knew there was a limit to the capacity that I was able to give when I was as burned out as I was. And so I also reached a point in my business where I was turning away so many people that it's not just clicking an email template that says, sorry, I'm unavailable for your date. It's like every time I do that, there's a little piece of me that's breaking when someone has taken the time to write their story, to tell me why they want me to be their wedding photographer. And that I was just like feeling little pieces of me shatter every time I had to do that. So I've really been thinking about bringing on an associate for the last year or so. But I knew it would have to be the right person because it's like what you're saying, so much of wedding work is so personal. And the way that I have built my business and that I love having my business built around is being very personal, and personality really, and just being able to have a certain energy level on a wedding day, point blank. And so I had a really good conversation with Ben, actually, who, you know, Ben Ramos, incredible associate team, dear friend. And he kind of said to me, you know, I had said to him, we were on FaceTime, like mid shelter in place, you know, and he's like, I think I had said something along the lines of, oh, you know, like I'm waiting to meet the right person. And he was just like, girl, you are not going to just meet someone. We are in the middle of a pandemic. You are not going to meet someone. You got to put it out there. And I was just like, duh. So I think I posted on Instagram that night. Again, here we are. Now I'm impatient. Now I'm like, I'm going to do it. Posted on Instagram that night, had a ton of people email, interviewed a bunch of them. Got on the phone with Katie, and the entire interview, actually, it's funny because she later told me that she was like, who is this girl? And like, why isn't she asking me about my skill level? Like, I wasn't asking her about gear, anything. Like, she just was going on and on and on about her heart and like why she loves my work and stuff that was very like, I was like, we'll get to the gear stuff later, sure. But I knew her work was good, and I knew that I just wanted her heart to match that, and it did. And so it was just like almost immediate where I just knew, like, again, always thinking of my couples, I was like, she has the ability. I always say when I talk to people about Katie on the phone that I brought her on because she has a really high level of social awareness, which sounds ridiculous because you'd think you bring someone on for like their incredible portraits or their attention to detail. And it was like, no, Katie has a very strong ability to read the room. And so
invaluable.
What?
Invaluable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so to bring someone on my team where like, you know, I can train, I've always said I will train, but I will not teach. And so I've trained her in my style. I've trained her in, you know, some different ways that I do things. I've trained her in wedding day process, but I have never really had to teach. And especially how to teach interaction and client interactions. Like I might train on the way we respond to someone who's asking about weather reschedules, but I know that she, you know, she can carry a conversation, she can own it. And so bringing someone on my team that I knew could enhance my business, never for the sake of money, like never for the sake of finance. That was never a goal with an associate. It was always just to be able to serve people better. And of course that is a bonus, you know, there is additional income as you start to grow, but having Katie on my team has never once been about the money and always just been about the growth for the sake of my couples, really.
Epic. Yeah. I feel like every response you give is like, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I'll start saying some controversial stuff. I don't know.
I think there's a reason why we run in the same circles and like have seen the kind of success we have in the wedding photography industry. And by no means saying that in a manner of arrogance, but in a manner of self-awareness and trying to educate other people of like, this is the most important thing is serving your clients.
Yes.
And that's so applicable to any creative industry.
Yes.
And like in any work ever, it's just people first.
Always,
you know, like,
always.
Yeah. When you're dealing with clients, when you're dealing with like whoever you're collaborating with, working for, it's always making sure that like you in some capacity are putting your needs to the side to help serve them and like make them feel loved and appreciated and wanted. And that like it obviously oozes from your brand. On the topic of teaching that, when are you going to start doing education?
Oh my gosh. Day one, Steven, I met Eric. Okay. I walk into Creative Club, like, you know, to meet the guys. I walk in and Eric's just like, oh, have you thought about getting into education? I'm like, dude, I just met you. And it's been like 2 years of every time I see him. So are you getting into education yet? No.
No?
No. I mean,
come on, like ever?
if I were to get into education, it would really be around like the empowerment of the individual in a way, and in client relations. Yeah, I always say that there's this phenomenal quote, and I don't remember who it's by, but it says something along the lines of you cannot serve from an empty vessel. You have to first fill yourself up and then serve from your overflow. And I give that analogy to people all the time. Like if you imagine having a cup of water and it's full, if you start to give it, you have a lot to give, but then your cup is going to be empty. Versus if you have this cup of water that's overflowing, you can stay full while you're constantly just giving and serving other people. And I think people underestimate the role that plays in your business, that it really is about who you're serving, because you are going to want to get better at your craft if you really genuinely care about the people that you're serving. You're going to want to learn how to, better give your time to the things that matter and outsource to the things that that someone else, is better worth their time. When you know that the people that you're serving will ultimately benefit from you not being burned out, from you having the time to give.
Yep.
And so if I were to get into education, it would be, something around those lines. I do these retreats. I do the retreats.
Right.
I do these retreats with one of my good girlfriends, and that's what we center them around. We center them around half photography, but also just half the person first and half your story. We never once ask people's photography stories when they get there. We ask them to share their 30-second life testimony. Like, what is important to you? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have a dog? What are you passionate about? Because that's what is going to fuel your business, and that's what's going to help you ultimately serve your couples, clients, whoever,
Cool. So when you do education, it won't be around it won't be wedding photography. It'll be more like holistic, creative, how to build yourself up.
Sure. We'll go with that.
That was maybe work on the title.
I don't know. That seems pretty concise.
How to build yourself up here at Sunlit Studio.
It's lit.
It's lit here at Sunlit Studio. I said I was only going to make that joke once, and I think that's like my 5th time.
Yeah, you got to make that like every day. Yo, like every Instagram story. Yo, it's lit over at Sunlit. What's up, guys? Just checking in. Okay, this is the awkward part of our podcast where we have to do our own plug of our own thing. So
Come
if you
on,
don't
here we go.
mind me real quick.
Make that money.
Yeah.
Oh no, what are you talking about, Eric? This is our first ad read ever.
Yeah. By our first
It's
sponsor.
an ad break, man.
Yeah. Our first sponsor. Who is it,
Yeah.
Steven?
Us, baby.
Us, baby.
Here we go.
Hey, do you like rally caps? Do you want more of it? Well, you're in luck, because every week we post episodes of Rally Caps, an extra little episode called Extra Innings, and it's available on our Patreon just for $5 a month. If you want to hear what Steven and I have to say about what we talked about with our guest, little extra quips, things like how we pitch to get clients on the podcast, how we get guests on the podcast, and just creative ways that we go about interacting with people, building community. And then, ultimately we want to start jumping into like audio and how you can build a podcast and how we grow Rally Caps, that sort of stuff, outside of just supporting us and paying Steven for the hard work he does to edit all of this. So if you're interested in Patreon, you could check it out in the description or the show notes down below.
Kerri, you're an insanely organized and goal-oriented person. Perfect segue. Do you have like any plans in, I don't know, the next 5 to 10 years for your current business, for Sunlit Studios, for everything that you're doing now? Do you have like a grand plan in mind for where you want all that to go? Do you want to hand off some of these businesses to other people? What do you kind of see in your future?
That's a good question. I think goals and I think dreaming is important. I also really value not getting too far ahead. I think it's really important, especially as we know the way I am. Once I get my mindset on something, it's going to happen.
Manifest it, yeah.
And so I like to grow at a good pace. And so right now I am just, we talk about client service. That's my priority. My business has like 45 more weddings this year still. And those couples are my priority. Yeah. That's not all me, a lot of those are Katie, but, my clients have my priority right now. And obviously this space is never really meant to be a stressor. This space is meant to be like a safe place and to be something that inspires me and makes me feel creative. And so the second it turns from being that, I will backpedal. I think long-term in this space, I love events. Let me tell you, I just think planning events is so fun. That I would love to, when I, can come up for air, start doing, this is the one thing that I'm like, this will happen in here. I want to start doing some sort of,
soiree.
No.
That's
Sounds fun though. Sounds fun though. I don't know.
Does that mean fancy party? I'm full of words.
I'm all about fancy parties, but no. I was gonna say something along the line. Call it what you want. Like just chats with and bring in really cool people.
So like little mini workshop things.
Yes.
Like paid or like just events? Or
haven't quite gotten there. Gotcha. I just know that when we talk about education and workshops, like I said, I don't think that the crux of your business should be centered on, and it's personal to everyone, it's different for everyone, but I don't think the crux of a business should be your skill behind a camera. Like that might be the most important thing as a photographer or as an artist, but for the sake of being a business owner, it's not. And so I want to start doing very like those kinds of workshops. My dream, I'm going to just say it so that way you can all hold me accountable to it. Jenny, as in Jenny.
Like Jenny's ice cream.
Like Jenny Brittenbauer. Jenny.
Actual Jenny's ice cream.
Yes. That's what I want her to come in here and do an entrepreneur workshop. She is a powerhouse woman entrepreneur that's like doing it. And she is just creative and talk about like just gets an idea and goes for it. And so I would love to do a workshop with her on creativity and being a business owner.
Sick.
Hold me to it, Steven.
100%. That's going to happen because I have like 10 to 12 flavors that I want to pitch her. So I will attend and then give her some ideas for some ice cream.
Here we go.
Literally the best ice cream on the planet.
Listen, everyone's over here talking about joining mixed preset packs with people, and I'm over here talking about just wanting to do a mixed ice cream flavor with Jenny. Is that too much to ask?
In collaboration with KCP, Jenny's new flavor
is
soiree.
Is Sunlit.
Soiree.
Wait, okay, that's not a bad idea though. I feel like she would like something like that. I could see some sun motifs,
Sunlit.
some branding and stuff.
For the sake, what I would love to do with her is like a rainbow sherbet.
Sounds great.
But like make it like a sun sherbet.
So
all
like,
yellow,
all
or
yellow,
like a
orange,
dreamsicle.
red,
Yeah, yeah.
sunset.
Come on,
That'd be
Jenny,
awesome.
if you're watching, come on,
Please,
girl.
Jenny. Okay, last serious question.
Okay.
And it is sort of serious.
Okay.
You are doing a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
And like right now, you're in the middle of like almost a 45-day stretch of shooting, like almost every day. Is this sustainable? How do you feel do you feel like you can go this hard for an extended period of time? Do you not want to? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the reason why I go through these stretches where I book myself sessions every single day is because I genuinely love it.
Yeah.
And because I get messages from couples that are like, we really wanted
so
photos
pumped.
in this month,
Yeah.
or they're people that are just so pumped, and I have a really hard time turning people away or saying, sorry, I'm not available until September. Like,
Yeah.
so I think it's a loaded question because on one hand, I could keep it up. I will not go at the rate May is going. That's just, no.
Just take your foot off the gas. A little.
Yes. I think my next move, and it's just something that will, when we talk about financial growth, a lot of that comes from not outsourcing quickly. And so I haven't been outsourcing my editing because that's something that I see very clearly as I'm very quick at editing.
Yeah.
I know my time is more valuable elsewhere, but I'm very quick at editing.
But if you were to do an hour-long session, how long does that take you to edit?
Sessions take me an hour.
An hour to edit. Okay, that's not bad.
No, sessions do.
Yeah. How about a full wedding? Like a full 8-hour day wedding, 2 photographers.
I don't know if I have a time limit on that. Too long, probably.
Yeah. So if you were to outsource, what would that look like? How would you feel comfortable if you did?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is
Yeah.
does it make more sense to take on less work or to outsource?
Like to somebody you know or to a company, or,
Right.
and then figure out what that process looks like.
Right, exactly. So I think my thing right now, I keep telling everyone that I know that I'm going to start putting a sign above my desk that says not booked does not mean available. Because I had 3 days on my calendar in May where I wrote no session. And then I got inquiries for people that just either I knew or were super stoked or something. And I'm just like, well, what else am I going to do? No problem. Why not? Like, they need the photos. I'll just schedule them.
Yeah.
And that's how May got to be May. And so I don't mind taking on a lot of work. I just need to be better at saying, would love to work with you. I have availability starting in July.
Yeah.
I have availability starting in August. And I do think outsourcing editing will be the next thing because I always tell Katie every time I get a phone call from her of, session was awesome. Couple was so great. We had so much fun. Where should I bring the memory cards to? Should I drop them at the studio? And I am like, I forgot I had another session coming my way. And so I think that's been like the biggest. Katie has the capacity to be taking on more sessions, and I fully trust her with her ability to deliver in experience. And so I then need to allow her that opportunity. It's really cool getting to pay someone. So I need to allow her that opportunity, and I need to allow more couples that opportunity, which will mean outsourcing editing when I don't have the time.
Yeah, for sure. Wish you all the best in that. As soon as I started doing that with photo, it just completely changed the game for me. At least getting someone who I know and trust who can get a gallery to 80%.
Yes.
And then taking the last 20%
sure.
in just 3-4 hours to
Right.
just get all my perfectionist tweaks out of the way, which I'm sure you have as well, because your work is flawless. And just seeing how much that can free up your time. It's incredible.
I think when weddings I've had like a month break from weddings. And so I think I've gotten really overwhelmed with sessions, but I've kept up on everything. Like I've kept up with 2-week deliveries on everything.
Yeah.
And so I think once weddings pick back up, it's going to
It's a
be
game
that, when we
changer.
were talking about going full time and you have to like reach a capacity that you literally cannot do it anymore.
Right.
I say like, oh, the editing is so much, but like, I know I can still do it because it's been mostly sessions. But I think once I have like triple header,
behemoth to
double
edit.
headers
Yeah.
every single weekend, starting in a couple weeks, it's
No
going
dice.
to be all right, time for an editor.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just even as your friend want to go back to like what you said about making sure your cup is full.
Yes, absolutely.
You never want to get into a place where you're draining your own,
right,
so that you can't give back,
right,
and things start, the wheels start falling off.
And that is the thing, that's the weird balance when I do genuinely love the people that I'm working with so much.
It's hard to be a yes person.
Yes. Yes. I always said in college that I wished that I could major in people. Like I used to just go on rants to people that I'd pass my way to class and be like, why do I have to go to accounting? This just doesn't make sense given. But then you run your own business and you go, it's probably good that I took that class. But, and so I think, our jobs are the closest thing to majoring in people. So when I have the opportunity to go meet new people, hear their story, give them an incredible experience, allow them a chance to connect with each other better and help facilitate their date nights, their relationships, whatever, like that also fills me up. So it's hard when I have work filling me up and also my own personal life and my own personal people filling me up. It's what has me keeping saying yes to all these things. And so it's going to be about learning the balance of that, not, oh, this is awful, I need to start saying no. It's just like, okay, they're just both equally as important,
It's good stuff.
You guys are the best. You guys are so good at what you do.
Oh,
for real.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
For real.
That's sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have one last section called batting practice.
Okay.
So the way batting practice works is we fire questions off to you and you have to answer them quickly.
That makes me real nervous.
I knew it would.
Oh,
but if you take too long to answer, I'm just going to move on to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. There are about 10. So
I'm so nervous. I'm sweating.
Yeah, you should be. That's what makes it great.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Favorite ice cream?
Jenny's brown butter almond brittle.
Favorite Pantone color for a photo backdrop?
Secluded woods. I love this color.
Running or biking?
Running.
Best running shoe?
Hoka's, surprisingly.
Sunrise or sunset for
sunset? Absolutely.
Best Chicago location for a photo shoot?
North Ave, baby.
Jelly donut or glazed donut?
Neither.
What? Which one? Another one?
Maybe sprinkled or just straight up chocolate.
Okay, LaCroix Spindrift.
Spindrift.
Okay, favorite lens?
35.
Bears, Beats, or Battlestar Galactica?
Sorry, one more time.
You do not watch The Office?
No.
No, okay. That'll wrap that up then.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay, you have to play back.
Wait, like you ask me?
Yep.
Are you going to ask me the same questions?
No.
You're just going to fire off questions?
Favorite spot to have a drink in Chicago?
Stereo.
Someone who inspires you?
Ben Scheich.
Something that makes you smile?
My wife.
Something funny that one of your kids have said recently? That was probably it. One of them had probably said that. Steven, your turn. Your turn.
It's going to be funny with the delay.
Oh yeah, with the delay. An object that you would grab in the room you're in right now if your whole house started burning down.
My hard drives.
Right answer. Mm-hmm. A place that you would love to travel to.
Maui.
If you could only eat one food for a month, that's the only food you could have, but then after that month, you could never have it again, what would it be?
Trader Joe's peanut butter pretzels.
They're so good.
Okay, last question. Something you're looking forward to in the next month.
Shooting a wedding with Eric at the end of May.
Here we go.
Boom.
There we
In
go.
Western Mass.
Western Mass, baby.
Wait, so fun.
That was, yeah. We kind of stole that idea from Jimmy Fallon. My favorite segment was he had Kristen Wiig. And he was just like, where do you get your clothes? And she was like, Sears.
Sears.
That's awesome. Oh, that's good. Some good stuff.
Wait, Kerri, first of all, great answers, and also way to spin it back around on us. That was so
Seriously. That proves like how good she is at what she does with being a people person.
It's incredible.
I feel like you
it's
did that to me
amazing.
the first time you met me.
I probably
you just grilled
did.
me with questions.
I probably did.
Yeah.
I absolutely probably did. That's like my kind of thing,
Amazing.
to just like
Yep.
big question asker over here.
Well, that's
You guys are awesome.
That's all we have. Thank
For
you.
real.
Thank you for jumping on.
That's
I
it
know
for
it was
us.
kind of last minute, but
Heck yeah.
man, you are really impressive. Like everything you have going for you, everything you've built,
Thank you.
You should be very proud of what you're doing, what you have done,
Thank you.
what you will do. So
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. And it's not, I mean, okay, here's your like cliche comment. It's not because of me. It's because of the people that surround me. But like for real.
It's true.
For real. My parents came in here to see the space the other day and they
just like mind blown.
It was just so when we were talking about
so
like
cool.
dreaming and such, they spent a couple winter months in Florida and I was down there with them and we were just sitting at the picnic table and speaking of grilling questions, you know, they're like, what would you use it for? How would you pay for it? What would you do for this? What would you do for this? Would it be a business investment or would it be just a luxury? Would it be this? Would it be this? And it was just like the perfect parent conversation.
Yeah.
And so 3 days later, I think I signed the lease and I was like, what if I got a studio at some point, you know, and so that's how fast things happen. But, having them come home and just see it done.
Yeah.
And I was like limiting the photos I was sending to them so they could just come see it. And that was like
So cool.
a cool of like, yeah, I've had really good people to get me here.
It's awesome. Very cool. All right.
That's amazing.
You guys are the best.
Sweet.
Later.
Oh, Kerri, you're the
Today's
best.
a good
Thanks for
day at
joining us
Sunlit
today.
Studio. Come on by. It's lit here at Sunlit.
Wait. Tell them if they're watching on YouTube, they need to like and subscribe. You know how to do it. Just talk right to the camera. Just look at it.
I'm looking at that, right?
Yeah, that camera.
What am I telling them?
You say, hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, you make sure to.
Hey guys, if you're watching this, I'm just kidding. I can't do it.
What's up?
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Kerri. If you are watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, do everything you can to support these incredible people, the one on the computer too, because they do an incredible job and they're making good content to serve you. They didn't pay me to say that.
No. We don't have any sponsors yet. We just have our like one patron.
That laugh.
Yes, our single patron.
Yeah, we'll get there.
You guys are killing it.
We might get a sponsor soon. We'll see.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You're killing it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And if you're watching or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you could leave us a 5-star review and a nice little comment there, that helps with the podcast and pushing it out to more people. So we'd be eternally grateful and love you forever if you did that as well. We'll catch you in the next episode of Rally Caps. Bring back the
Batter
band,
up.
Steven.